In the heart of the river, where the water turned deep and quiet, where birds never flew too low and even the wind seemed to whisper, lived a secret hidden for many years, a secret wrapped in silence, waiting for the day it would be found again. The village of Ogudu sat gently on the edge of this river. Modern wooden houses balanced on stilts, resting above the water like sleeping cranes every morning. Canoes glided through the mist like slow fish, carrying people to their farms, their markets, and their memories. The people of Ogudu lived in rhythm with the river. It was their road, their well, their kitchen, and their storybook. Children splashed in the shallows, tossing tiny fishing lines and dreams into the current. Elders told tales of river spirits and floating islands. One man's canoe always left the shore before the others. His name was Shola. Shola was not the strongest man in the village, but he was known for his calm spirit and deep respect for the water. And his shoulders broad from pulling nets, but his eyes were gentle. They had seen much but judged little. He lived with his grandmother, Mama Yero. She was old, wise, and full of riddles. Her words often sound like songs, and many believed she could speak to the river in her dreams. She would say to him each morning's hola, "The river hides what it wants, but sometimes it gives back what was lost." That morning her words echoed louder than ever. The sky was heavy with fog. The sun rose late and quiet. The birds sang less. Shola pushed off into the mist, humming softly to himself. The fish had not been biting well, and he knew he had to try farther. He rode to a place the villagers called Black Bend. No one fished there, it was said to be cursed. That was where the water turned still, too still. Too still, and the trees leaned over as if they were listening. Shola dropped his net. The rope pulled hard. At first he thought it was a log, like something caught between sleep and waking. He pulled, and when the net broke the surface, Shola's breath caught in his chest. It was a man, but not a man like any Shola had ever seen. His skin shimmered like a polished pearl, while his hair floated behind him like river grass from the waist down. His body transformed into a long gleaming tail, silver and blue, adorned with scales that caught the light. He looked peaceful, as if dreaming. Shola panicked. Is he dead? Is this a spirit? He reached forward. The man stirred. Then his eyes opened, deep and blue, like the very heart of the river. "I'm called Mara," he whispered. "You have found me." Shola, frozen in disbelief, just stared. Mara sat up slowly, water rolling off his chest. He looked around. His face showed confusion, then relief, then sorrow. "I have slept for many years," he said softly. "Why?" Shola finally asked. "What happened to you?" Mara took a long pause, then looked toward the water. "I was cursed," he said. "Long ago. I am the son of the River King. I sang songs that brought healing, calmed storms, and soothed the waters." He paused, looked into Shola's eyes, and said, "But not everyone beneath desires peace." Shola listened, his hands gripping the edge of the canoe. "A mermaid, jealous of my gift, cast a spell upon me. She said, 'Let silence find you, and sleep keep you, until a hand of kindness lifts you from the deep.' And so I slept. I drifted through seasons, through floods and droughts. I watched the world from the dark until today. And until today you've found me." Mara said gently, "Please, let me stay with you for a while." Shola hesitated. "I'd be happy to take you home. But what if the villagers see you? They might be afraid and not want you here." "This is my destiny," Mara replied. "I will surely find favor." Shola took Mara to his house, hid him behind woven mats and old fishing nets. He dried him, fed him. Mara said, "When the fish danced, when people sang to the water." Shola smiled. "We still sing, some of us, for many days." Mara stayed hidden while Shola went about his daily business. Mara was quiet but curious. He wanted to know about the village, the people, the world above. He watched from behind curtains as children played, as women washed clothes, as elders told tales at night. He and Shola would sit by the fire, sharing stories. Mara sang only once. Immediately the birds drew nearer. The fire grew more intense, and Shola felt a profound sense of peace settling within him. Mara described glowing coral, underwater markets, sea animals as friends, and the sorrow that had been weighing on him since the curse. Like a heavy net, he recalled hearing voices in sleep, the paddling of men over his resting spot, festival drum sounds, and once, a boy falling into the river and crying out. "I could not help him," Mara said softly. "I could only listen." Shola told him about life above, fishing competitions, rainy season celebrations, yam festivals, and harvest dances. They often laughed together. Weeks went by. One fateful day, Shola brought Mara a bowl of hot pepper soup and yams. Mara smiled, then gently touched a dried palm leaf near his leg. It glowed and transformed into soft, beautiful cloth. Shola gasped in. "How did you manage to do that?" "I can turn things into what people truly need," Mara explained. "It's a gift, but it must be used with care." Shola watched him with curiosity and quiet awe. Mara picked up a broken calabash from the corner of the house, one Shola had meant to throw away. It was cracked and useless. Mara laid his hand on it. Moonlight on water, in moments. The calabash began to shimmer. The cracks faded. The pot looked new, even better than before. Shola stepped back, stunned. "You fixed it with just a touch." Mara looked up with a small smile. His fishing nets came up full of fish. Even when others caught nothing, his leaking roof fixed itself after one rainy night. A dry patch of earth near his hut bloomed with ripe cassava and maize. The sick goat nursed back to health, gave birth to 2 strong kids. He always had enough to eat, and enough to share, neighbors whispered. Children followed him. Women at the market stared. Shola walks through the busy market, smiling. Villagers were amazed at his new transformation. In no time, the news spread across the village like wildfire that Shola had a magical power. A villager, Mimi, whispers, "That man has the Midas touch," Femi said. "Everything he lays his hands on becomes a blessing." Bolu, another villager, said, "There is a stranger in his house. Since he took in that stranger, fortune has followed him like a shadow." Everyone was curious about the secret behind Shola's sudden wealth, but secrets in small villages never last. One evening, Shola sat by the river with his childhood friend, Adiz. They laughed, told stories, and shared roasted yams. Adiz leaned her head on his shoulder. Mara, watching from afar, smiled. "You love her?" Mara asked Shola later. Shola looks at him with warmth. "Yes, I love her," Mara nods. His eyes glow, but there's sadness in them. "Why the sudden sadness?" Shola asked. "My time here is almost over," Mara said. "I will be happy to see you marry her before I leave." The whole village celebrated their wedding. Drums played, people danced, and Shola and Adiz exchanged handmade necklaces as vows. Mara watched from behind a tree, smiling quietly. But far away, an old priest threw stones into a fire. "Someone has brought river magic into the village," he murmured. The next day, the chief and elders came to Shola's house. Villagers crowded behind them. Shola opened the door and Mara stepped into the firelight. Tail shimmering, gasps, whispers. The elders stood outside, and Mara came forward. There was silence. No one spoke. Then someone whispered, "It's a merman," a child gasped. The chief frowned. "Why are you here?" The chief asked. Mara lowered his head, then raised it gently. "I mean no harm. I will return if you'd like." I did not choose to come. I was found. Then you must return, Bayo said. The river spirits may be watching. Shola's heart pounded. He looked at his wife, Adiz, then Mara. Eyes wide, but Mara smiled softly. It is all right, he said. This was the way it had to be. That night, under the moonlight, Shola walked with Mara to the riverbank. Mara looked at him. You gave me kindness, Mara said, and that broke the curse. Shola tried to speak, but the words caught in his throat. Where will you go? He asked. Back to the deep, said Mara, but now I go free. He placed a shell in Shola's hand. It is magical. Your wealth will remain, and it will bring peace. Listen to it when you're lonely, he said. You'll hear my song. And then, with a wave of his tail, he disappeared into the dark water. The surface shimmered, the air stilled, and he was gone. Shola stood there for a long time. The shell was warm in his hand. Years passed. Shola grew older. He told no one the whole story, but sometimes, when the night was quiet, he would hear it a song, faint and familiar, and he would smile, because some stories, like rivers, never really end. Sometimes, a simple act of kindness is all it takes to lift even the oldest curse. Not everyone who is lost wishes to stay hidden, and those who leave us may never truly be gone. The river remembers, and if you listen closely, it sings back. If this story moved you, like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel.